Well, hello Unicorners, it's Christmas Eve. I hope you've got a good Christmas planned. We at Unicorny certainly do, and today it is our Christmas party. Yay! So we've got in the studio today, we have Nicola.
Hello.
And we have Pete.
Hello there.
And we have Laura.
Hello.
Unfortunately, we don't have Rachel with us. She's far too busy doing other things. Her book is coming out in the new year, but there will be more of Rachel coming up very soon. It's midday. I still need to do my Christmas shopping. I actually haven't started yet.
You see, I used to be like that, but as I've got older and the internet's the place that I shop, I no longer go out of the house nowadays, which is lovely. I tend to do it much earlier because I get better deals on the internet, and I'm a bit of a tightwad.
That's a good call, because we are actually recording this the day before Black Friday.
What about you, Laura? Have you done your shopping yet?
No. I'm a Christmas Eve person.
Okay.
BP has a lot on offer these days, the petrol station.
They do.
You got chocolate.
My one's got a Marks and Spencer's light in it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Cornish pasties that wrapped up, they make quite nice presents.
They do. And a good selection of birthday cards and such like as well. So always there.
Birthday cards, Christmas
cards, birthday cards. It's all you need to do is you just need to be creative and have a Sharpie, and you can easily convert one type of card into another. So it's all good.
Recycling, Pete.
Yeah, I like that. So we've had a good year this year. We've certainly put a lot of shows out. We did that experiment mid-year where we were going twice a week, which was horrendous.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
We're back to once a week now, which feels a little bit more manageable.
Just for clarity, the shows weren't horrendous. It was just the schedule that was horrendous.
The host was, obviously.
The host was. The guests were great.
The guests were amazing. And the other host, the Scottish one, she was amazing.
Oh, yeah, she was amazing, yeah. Rachel was amazing. And, well, to be fair, you were okay yourself.
It went all right. But I think there are lots of bloopers in the year, though.
Well, funnily enough, because of this time of year, it's a nice time to bring that kind of stuff up, I think. So, yeah, being a complete audio geek, I've got audio of stuff, of outtakes.
You guys been colluding on this?
Yeah, we have a little bit, yeah.
I thought we were going to talk about Christmas and Christmas presents.
This is Christmas and Christmas presents.
Is this your Christmas present?
Christmas revenge.
Okay, Christmas revenge.
No, it's a present to you, Dom.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah,
cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
So we'll get into some of that today if you want.
Good. Okay, we can do that. I don't mind. There were some pretty horrendous bloopers on there. Actually, what I will say is certainly the bits I do to camera, I try and delete the bits that don't work so that you only get the clean bits, because they often go, like sometimes it's 7 or 8 takes to get a single piece to camera for the beginning or end.
It's reasonably easy to sound okay, but to sound okay and look okay at the same time, that's really tricky. I don't know how TV presenters do it. I really don't.
That's fine. Funny you should say that, because since we went video first, 2 things. One, I've gone on a diet.
Right.
2, I'm a lot more careful shaving, because I nearly lacerated myself to death once.
Yeah.
And I saw this thing on the video. It's not good. It's a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it? Video?
It really is. Yeah. Massively.
Like, how do the influencers do it? Because they always look
Makeup.
Yeah, I was going to say makeup, yeah.
Makeup.
Lots of
We can
makeup.
get a makeup artist for you.
Could we?
We did. We used it already on one of the shows.
Oh, we did,
I
had a large spot.
But the big thing with influencers as well is they've been doing it from a really young age. So they've just been brought up with that, haven't they?
Oh, and when you're young, you do look good naturally.
Exactly, yeah. You've got that natural young youth thing going on.
We should all hang out with more young people.
Absolutely.
As far as bloopers are concerned, what I've done is I've categorised some of them, if that's okay.
Okay, cool, yeah.
And first of all, I think it's fair to say, like, the overly honest host category.
Okay.
Do you want to hear one?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sandra Volrath, fabulous interview, fabulous chat, and Dom being an overly honest presenter.
Ship product microstation.
Oh, I remember Microstation. Blimey. Okay, we'll take a quick break there. What was Microstation? Do you know what's really, really upsetting about that?
Tell me.
I actually used to do PR for the company.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it was, to be fair to me, it was 1998.
It was a lifetime ago, Dom.
It was a lifetime ago, but I actually used to do PR for that product, and I still had to ask what it was.
Really?
Might tell you why I got fired off the account. That was really...
In 1998.
But this is the wandering of editing, isn't it? It's like, what? Off there. What is it? Oh, yeah, I remember that. Terrible.
So this is when you spoke to James Gatoff.
Okay. We heard how you started, and actually it sounds like COVID really was catalytical. Is that even a word?
I have no idea. It was certainly the catalyst, wasn't it?
It was the catalyst, yeah. Too many cats already. We prefer dogs anyway, don't we? It sounded like COVID was a good catalyst for you, but yeah. Laura, what do you think about that?
I'm very opposed.
You've got 2 new cats.
I do. I've got 2 lovely kittens called Bucket and Nugget. Oh. And well, if you meet them, maybe that'll change your opinion.
Maybe dogs and cats will be on equal footing next time. But the shame about that is, because I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to language, and I get really upset when I hear like bad grammar and stuff. So to hear me saying that, catalytical.
I think it's a word.
Is it? I think is it catalytic? Isn't that the...
Catalytic is yes, catalytic works.
It's too long since I learned this stuff. If you know the answer to this, why don't you email me, unicorny@selbyanderson.com. Catalytical or catalytic? So that's great. I'm looking really good at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Any more?
Well, this is what outtakes are about.
It is what outtakes are about, yeah.
Okay.
More please.
The moment where your inner filter fails.
Okay.
A little bit. I must say, at this point, when we were compiling these list of bloopers, Nicola said to me, "Have you got anything of Rachel screwing up?"
Okay.
And I went, "No, because she's like word perfect."
Oh, no. I know. She's a pro there, you see.
She's a pro.
She is. Why do you think we brought her in the first place?
Well, there we go.
It's like we need someone that knows what the fuck they're doing, frankly.
Well, this is all highly
Don't let your kids
stuff.
listen to this, because it's going to be lots of bad language on this show.
This is where your thinking comes out loud. Again, actually, this is Sandra Volrath when you were speaking to her. And here we go.
You will almost certainly come across those 7 areas of waste.
And those are the things I think people aren't going to miss while they're on holiday.
Hopefully not.
That and a boss who's a twat. We all have those.
Yes, agreed.
Well said, Laura.
That was the holiday season one, wasn't it?
That was the holiday season one.
Things that happen over the holiday season.
That didn't make the show, did it?
I think it did.
Did it? The boss being a twat?
Did it really?
I think,
Did it? Oh no, that was a bad edit by me then.
I can't remember.
That was a good edit, baby.
Possibly.
We've all had twats as bosses, I think.
Fair enough. And also, Catherine Reed got to experience this.
Will the rate of change of score be measured? Or do you notice a massive uptick in someone's account score when they come in market?
So I'm not sure I understand what you,
I understand what you're saying. I am. That's the joy of being me. So I used to have a 3-letter acronym for that, MIU.
Yeah.
Make it up as you go along.
Absolutely.
And it's clear that's what I was doing that day.
Well, that's a little tease for January, because we haven't had Catherine on yet.
Oh, really? Oh, of course we haven't. No, of course we haven't.
Well, that's not going to be in the show, though. Catherine's is a really good episode, by the way. And thankfully, Pete made me sound almost normal.
It worked. It was a really good episode. Yeah. Excellent. In fact, every episode is a great episode.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say so. Every guest is excellent, is what you mean.
Yeah, completely. But actually, to be fair, I think you have those moments where you go, I'd like to call it the Jim Carrey type of outtake.
Okay.
Where it rolls at the end of the credits, and at some point everybody realises that it's going to roll at the end of the credits, and they kind of just go with it as an outtake.
Yeah, okay.
And they recognise that it's going to be a blooper. This is what happened when you spoke to Steve Morledge. Actually, I think this was not when you were speaking to him. This was like an intro or an outro,
really? Okay.
or one of the bits, one of the other bits that were recorded.
Because isn't that what brand building is all about? Before you go, please do me this very small favour. Flavor? Would you like some crisps? I'd love some crisps. Cheese and onion for me.
Sugar levels are pretty up.
Sugar levels, lack of sleep.
Yeah, totally.
Or I had a hangover, one of the two.
Yeah.
All 3.
In the same category, this is when you spoke to Michelle Booth.
Brilliant advice. I hope you wrote that down. And we're going to come on to a little bit more navel gazing. Navel gazing? We're going to come on to some future gazing in a minute. That's a totally different thing. But before we head into the final part of today's show, I'm going to sack myself after this. But I'm going to give myself a massive package in settlement. I've already signed the agreement. It's fine. Yeah, you think I'm joking. Anyway. Oh dear.
Brilliant.
Oh dear.
That was one of my favourites of the year.
I like that.
Michelle was
that.
epic. Do you know Michelle's gone back to drama school?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've caught up with her after the show, and she will come back to corporate, but she realised, I think, after coming on the show, and Michelle, if I've got this wrong, then beat me up. But she realised after coming on the show that she missed certain bits of drama school that she'd studied. And so it's gone back. And I think she's going to go back, do some part-time study, then come back into corporate life. She's one hell of a cool person, Michelle.
And have you caught up on her since she's been at drama school?
Not as of recording. We have a Unicorny quarterly tonight, and I believe she's coming to that. So we'll catch up then.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah,
yeah,
because
it
is when you've been doing stuff for so long. I think it's so easy just to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And to actually go, I want to do X, Y, or Z. Then I completely respect anyone who does that.
It is really interesting that people often come on the show at moments of change.
Yes, definitely.
Either because they're
changing
changing jobs or changing career. Hopefully they're not changing jobs because they've been on the show.
You've been on which podcast?
I listened to it. You were shit. You're sacked.
Why?
Why? Because you said all of your colleagues are chumps. No.
Oh, yeah.
There's a thing about, I guess maybe it's because, when people are thinking about a change in their life, maybe they're more open to try new things, or maybe they're looking for a platform. I don't know. But it is quite often when we meet people, they are looking for moments of change. It's interesting.
That is a really interesting time to meet people as well. Yeah, definitely. There's another outtake where there's a threat made.
Oh, really?
There's a threat.
Ooh.
There's a threat
Bloody
made.
hell.
And this isn't so much an outtake. This is evidence. This is evidence. This one, yeah.
Oh, shit.
So evidence in 3, 2, 1.
While we're in it, oh, Jesus Christ. God, Pete, if you keep that in, I'm going to kill you. Well, you're still here.
If I die...
But it is a threat.
You heard it here first.
if Pete mysteriously dies, we know why.
Exactly.
Yes, I was hoping to go for a bit of a knees up at the Grouch after this, because that's been closed by the police. Might be because they've got hold of this tape.
It might be.
But you're still here. Hang on a sec.
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still here for now.
Killed the wrong Pete.
Did I kill the wrong man?
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Don't kill a Pete, anyone. All Pete's are nice.
All Pete, stay at home.
Yes, for Pete's sake. Don't kill a Pete. Exactly, yeah.
There's, I think it's fair to say, an honourable mention.
Okay.
Because the person who you were interviewing took part as well, and that was Maya Price.
Oh, yeah.
This is a nice one.
And I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to use it. How can I say it without using it? It's another one for you, Pete. I want to say I'm not going to use the more with less statement, but I've just said more with less.
Oh, what are you wanting to say?
I don't know. I'm completely lost. Thanks for that. It's now a two-way. It's a two-way blooper. Being called out by my guest. There we go. Yeah, that's one of those phrases. There were 2 phrases that got my goat this year. And they've got me into all sorts of trouble off air talking to people about them. One is that ROI thing, which I talk about all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is this concept that you can create more with less, like we're frigging alchemists. You can do more with more. You could do more with the same, but you can't do more with less, because if you could do, you'd be doing it anyway.
It's become one of those things, though, because when you've highlighted it and you have spoken extensively about it, I hear it in all walks of life now.
Yeah.
Just because it's my mind's turned onto it and I hear it everywhere.
And it is garbage.
It is rubbish.
Wherever it's being said, generally, it's garbage. The whole of this is meant to be a learning thing too. Well, Bramwell we only discovered in show whatever it was, 96 or something, 95, 96.
Yeah, it's very recent.
Yeah. Peter Went, wasn't it?
Yes.
Peter Went, yeah. And on LinkedIn now, when people make those posts, and I just comment #brandwank.
Do you do that?
I get defriended. There's a post I saw, and I'm not going to tell you who made it because I can't remember her name, but there was a creator I know who was talking about how one of the payment service providers had recognized the category of creator now. So they recognized them as being effectively an independent business. Her comment was something like, that's great news. That's great news. How are you going to elevate or showcase your value? That was her comment. And I thought, what the hell does that mean?
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. No. I mean, it could have been, it's not even ChatGPT. At least ChatGPT would have said something like, in this ever-changing world, it's good to know that not only is your business being recognised, but also it's valid.
I don't like phrases where I've got to work out what they mean.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you think it's got worse?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like ChatGPT might have had a part to play in that.
You can't blame ChatGPT for that.
You can't. It's the people
There's
who use
certain words, though, that have been like used over and over again with ChatGPT.
When you think about standard distribution, the typical bell curve, and if you draw a line 3/4 of the way across it, anyone above that line is a good copywriter. Anyone below that line can't be called a good copywriter, and anyone below half is a shit copywriter. Can we assume that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Okay, right. So ChatGPT is trained on everyone's copy. So where do we think it's going to sit? It's going to be shit.
Yeah.
It has to be, because most people are shit. They think they're not, but they are shit. Lawyers particularly, by the way, think they can write brilliant copy because they can write good legalese. Not all lawyers, obviously, just some of the lawyers I know or have known. Well, I'm doing it again. Look, if you're a lawyer, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the other guy that you really don't like. But he thinks he's really good at writing, and he is really good writing. I should probably say, notwithstanding all the stuff I have hereunto mentioned, etc., etc. Lawyers, don't let lawyers write your promotional copy.
It is one of those things, isn't it, where lawyers and generally, I mean, I've got some lawyers as a client, and I do a podcast for some lawyers, but we have to be careful who host the podcasts, because sometimes they do come in with a pre-prepared script, and it is written like a legal document, rather than how you'd communicate to a human being who isn't a lawyer.
This is another sweeping generalization, but they have superior intellect.
Yeah,
they can communicate in a way that we mortals don't understand.
Totally, yeah.
Once the word gets past 56 words, I start worrying about what was at the beginning of it, whereas they're still with it.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
One worse than that is accountants who think that Excel is the ideal platform upon which to write copy.
They're not the only one. They're not the only one.
Is that a joke?
No, it's not.
It's true. It is true.
Have you prepared a document for? Yes, I have prepared a document. This is an Excel. That's not a document. Tool of the trade.
My favourite outtake, I think, is the one where you have ultimate self-awareness to the point that I didn't realise it until you said it.
It's, like if I saw you tomorrow and you weren't wearing your glasses, right? Yeah. You would look a bit odd to me because I've only seen you wearing your glasses. There's nothing unique to you. I think generally when you see someone.
And that was the moment where Dom said that he looked like a potato.
I do, look. There you go. Without my glasses on, I look like a potato.
You don't look like a potato, Dom.
We do a side-by-side comparison.
Couple of eyes.
Potato with glasses.
Big round thing. Bit blotchy. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, that's why I have these.
Yeah, no, beautiful.
Yeah, but they are. I mean, you can buy those. You don't. No special skill needed. Just turn up to the opticians. So it's been fun this year, I think, and I think we've done well. Laura, you've done a sterling job on all the digital side and promotion, and we're video now, and we're on TikTok, and we're on all these other channels.
Yeah, it's been really exciting.
It has been, I think, yeah.
I think going to video first was a very big change.
And lots to learn again, so the fun is always learning.
And Laura has turned into ChatGPT Pro.
And the other thing I'd say, actually, is we did some really interesting analysis on the experiment of going from one show a week to 2 shows a week. And if anybody listening would like to see that, we'll send them the original document. We will redact it slightly because there's some confidential stuff in there, but it won't get in the way of the analysis. And the outcome of that analysis, I think, was really interesting.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, it wasn't what I think we expected.
It wasn't what we expected, was it, at all?
No.
A hint, and I'm not going to give you any of the results on here. You have to email us and we'll send you the document. But we were trying to game the Apple algorithm to go higher in the charts and to try and encourage a few other positive metrics, and it didn't work.
But we gave it a go, and it's all about testing and measuring.
Yeah, no, it is.
And that's what I love about working with you guys. I have a whole bunch of clients.
Well, the fact we haven't got a clue what we're doing.
No, it's not about that. It's about learning, isn't it? And it's about testing, and it's about just moving and changing how you do stuff. And that's it's
never a dull day at Unicorny.
Never.
No.
The other thing I really like about this year is obviously our audience has grown a little bit. What I've learned is that basically audiences compound over time, and we're still in the linear growth stage. So I hope that next year we'll start to see a pickup. But in terms of influence, I think the podcast has done really well this year. It's starting to get mentioned by some very influential people. We've had a direct impact on 4 or 5 businesses who have physically changed things about their business based on what they heard on this podcast.
That's awesome.
And I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Well, which are your favourites then? Please?
I think it's good that we revisit Peter Wendt, because we have referred to brand wank a few times.
Yep.
So if you don't understand what we're talking about, or you don't know who Peter Wendt is, then go and listen back to that episode. And I really liked that because, well, first of all, he's really good at getting to the point.
Isn't he?
He's just straight there. And I think, like, the name of his business makes sense.
Yeah.
Bold AF.
Bold AF, I know.
Isn't it? Yeah. So here he is.
If people say, want a quick one word, how do we write great content? Tell stories about your customer's pain.
And that's it, isn't it?
Oh, bloody hell, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Tell stories about your customer's pain. The other thing I really liked on his show was he gave some really good advice about how to get there. And I've seen a post of his on LinkedIn about this, where he says every hero has a villain, every business needs an enemy. And so imagine who what your superpower is, work out who your enemy is, and write to that. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And whenever I go to a swimming pool, I think of him.
Do you go to a swimming pool a lot?
Well, occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily in the changing rooms, just for clarity, but when I get into the pool.
Yeah, when you get into the pool.
And this is the reason.
If you look at most websites, there's a section which says what we believe in, or what we stand for, or what are our values. You can nearly always see the influence of some brand guru who's turned up with a gilet on and a cold cup in his hand and asked some questions about their spirit animals and their chakras, and what they produce is often quite bland, quite vague. WeWork's a great example. They would tell the world they were trying to elevate the world's consciousness. Now, I don't know what that means.
And that was a reference to brand wank.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what we're talking about when we refer to brand wank. But then he continues.
I believe that if you're going to set some rules for yourself, they should sound like rules. And there's no better place to see rules done properly than if you go to your local swimming pool, and screwed to the wall is a set of rules. No running, no jumping, no pissing in the pool. They're rules. It's quite clear. Well, and they haven't been written by some brand guru. They've been written by a bloke who doesn't want you to run or swim or piss in the pool.
But he didn't mention heavy petting.
No, so that's completely acceptable.
That was always the one as a kid. You go to the pool and there was a thing that said no heavy petting. It's like,
really? I never
how
saw
big
that.
is my dog? I didn't realise what heavy petting was.
I didn't realise what it meant.
I never saw that in
That
Ireland.
means no snogging, wandering hands, that kind of stuff.
They didn't have that in Ireland.
Apparently you can't do heavy petting at work either anymore.
Really? Oh, God.
Apparently not. No.
What a workplaces nowadays.
The government's trying to outlaw it. But anyway, no, he does get straight to the point, doesn't he? He was amazing. Yeah. Who else really caught your eye?
Carmen Simon was great as well.
Yeah, no, I love Carmen Simon, yeah.
Love
she
Carmen.
knows stuff about brains, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah, she was really good.
She's a neuroscientist.
She is, yeah.
Yeah. A neuroscientist, they put...
she gives us tips about focusing.
Suckers on people's brains and all
and brains and bodies
ECGs
and everywhere. Yeah.
What she was saying is like, we only retain 10% of what we hear as humans.
I'm drawn to this field because I'm constantly humbled by how quickly and how much audiences forget content. From my research, I'm noticing that after 48 hours, very little stays in people's minds. And when I say very little, I equate that with about 10% of the entire segment of communication that you would have created for someone.
And then she goes on to suggest...
So first of all, start by asking, what is my 10% message? A lot of people aspire at being memorable, but not that many people know what they want to be memorable for.
Eureka! I've just realised we could save our audience time. If we work out what the 10% is and then tell you, Pete, you can cut out the 90% of crap. Our shows will be like 5 minutes.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That's how we can be distinctive.
That would make us like a loo podcast rather than a train podcast.
But I guess the issue is everybody retains a different 10%. So we've got to do all of it, haven't we?
That's true. But if we know which 10% we want them to retain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mind you, as a guest, you might feel a bit cheated if you came and spent like a whole hour and a half in the studio for a 5-minute podcast.
Although, to be fair, like the podcast we put out anyway, they're pretty damn good, I think.
Yeah.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you one thing. And I'm not going to mention the name of the podcast because it's a really well-known and really well-respected podcast. But I was at home this week and I found that one of our... I'm not even going to tell you who the guest was, but I found that one of our recent guests, who is an academic from the west of England, had been on another marketing podcast talking about the same piece of work. And I listened to the other podcast and I listened to the interview and then I listened to ours. Different league, different class. Not, I would say, because of the interviewer, but the amount of time and effort that we put into sound quality, editing, the pace, the rhythm. It's something, it's that magic that an experienced editor, I think, brings to a podcast that keeps things moving. And it was really noticeable. So much so, I opened another bottle of wine that night.
Good job.
And drank it all. It was honestly, I had a really little proud moment because the other podcast, by the way, is a really good podcast. I absolutely love it. And if I hadn't had 2 shows to listen to side by side, I might not have noticed the difference. But because we'd literally just got back the first edit from you, it's like, oh, let's see how this compares. Night and day.
That's the way it should be, isn't it?
I think a lot of guests say, actually, it's like, oh my God, like you made us sound so good. Yeah. Because I think that thing in post, when you, I don't know, however you do it, you get the rhythm of everything working well. I think it's a much underrated part of the process.
My target and what I want to do when I send some audio back to a client, whoever the client is, I want them to listen to it and go, bloody hell, didn't know it was that good. You're like, well, you weren't.
Oh God, no, you're giving me a heart attack here. That's hilarious. So the audio quality, I think, is so important. So for me, the reason I always wanted to do an audio podcast, like the video thing we've had to do because it's where people are, and it's like if you want to catch fish, you've got to go to where the fish are. But if you want to catch really good fish, you've got to know what you're doing. And I think with audio podcasting, it's a bit like that for me because most people seem to be listening on earbuds. And it's a very intimate thing when someone's voice, with this clarity, edited to this quality, is in your head. And I think, that's why we spend a lot of time, I think, trying to get the audio quality to be as good as it can be.
92% of people are listening on their own, and most of them have earphones in. So it is actually a really intimate medium where it's a one-on-one thing. And why wouldn't you want it to be in really good quality? And nowadays, it's actually really easy to get it in good quality.
Yeah.
I have noticed in recording, a lot of the guests, very senior, hugely professional, when they come into the studio, in a lot of cases, they can become exceptionally nervous at the beginning, but you'd never expect it. But they've really enjoyed the experience afterwards. A number of them said, God, how much they'd enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's the experience, isn't it? And it's coming into a room like this. And yes, it is a small room, but it is a studio. It sounds like a studio. It looks like a studio. It's...
Has that weird effect on your ears when you walk in for the first time? Yeah,
absolutely. The first thing I did when I walked in, as I went... Oh, it's a studio.
You start doing some tap dancing.
I could not do that.
We're a bit grinchy in the office. There are no decorations at all in our office.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we've got Christmas decorations here, and Nicola goes out to buy some Christmas decorations because she had a panic and she went, oh no, it looks a bit grinchy in here. We need to get some Christmas decorations. So we've got a classic Christmas tree.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
It's a work of art.
It's nice that. There was talk of putting it on the wall, but we decided against it. There's a reindeer here, which... if we had the time, we would transplant this hat that he's got here from his head and put it on the nose.
It's a unicorn in disguise as a
it's quite
reindeer.
cute, this one there.
It is, yeah.
This one,
nice.
if you're not watching this one, if you're listening to this in your ears, it's kind of a cute reindeer with a large silver hat on. Do you think we should give this away?
I think you should, yeah.
If you want this, then all you have to do is email us, unicorny@selbyanderson.com, and tell us why you think you deserve this, and we will send it to you. There we go. Laura, you can be the judge on those emails. You can choose your favourite one. So Laura's going to be the judge. All you have to do is write to her and tell her why you think you should be the proud owner of that unicorny, and it could be yours.
In disguise. Unicorny in disguise as a reindeer.
Unicorny reindeer, sorry, yeah.
And then there's this one, the tinsel dinosaur, which was
the Christmas dinosaur.
When you took it to pay, how much was it, Nicola?
It was about £2-3, but they tried to charge me about £12.
Did they?
Tried to charge £12. It was priced up as £12.
Wow.
And Nicola said, I'm not paying £12 for it. I'll give you £2.
Did she? Did you?
Yeah.
And they did.
How did they zap the barcode? They can't have done. It was the fourth P in marketing. Well, one of the P's in marketing was pricing. You were showing yourself to be an expert. The traditional Christmas dinosaur, you got it like 80% off.
And that's inspired me to go into my supermarket and say, I'm not paying that for that. I'll give you £50.
You went frog marched out the door.
But sir, this is an £8 turkey.
What? I'll give you £50.
Well, thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. And thank you for listening throughout the year.
Thanks to all our guests.
And to our guests. They make a big effort. We don't often talk about the effort they go to before they come here, but they commit quite a lot of time to make each show. So, we're really grateful.
Yeah, and we've got some really good shows coming up, I think, as well.
We do.
We have.
The one that I've just edited, which won't be going out for a few weeks, is Lisa Quest.
Oh, my God.
She was brilliant.
It's quite a hard one to record that.
Yeah.
Because she'd say something and it goes, and I was like, oh, my God. I think I did. I stopped a couple of times to camera and went, I just learned something. She framed that whole ROI thing in a way that I hadn't thought about.
Yeah.
And I slightly had to eat humble pie in that interview. And it's changing how I'm thinking about the framing of that. I haven't got my head around it yet, but...
Yeah. So you see, early in the year, this Dom could be making a U-turn. Who knows?
It's not going to be a U-turn. It might be a J-turn. Enough said. Right, that's it. Enough. Thank you very much, everybody. We will see you next year.